and we'll have everything set up by the end of the day, but we'll do some testing and hopefully everything should be live tomorrow.
Absolutely. So we have gotten in contact with a couple of real estate agents, or a couple of agents that are state brokers, and also a contact that William has that wrote the book for real estate school and code of ethics, all of that good stuff in the state of Oregon. All of her materials are what is used for licensing in the state of Oregon. So we've got a couple of really good sources that we've gone through, and we've checked into the legalities surrounding the follow-up campaigns that we're doing with expireds, canceleds, and withdrawns. And so one of the things that we were kind of doing out of the gate was, because those contacts were coming through and it showed that their listing was canceled, we were plugging them directly into a follow-up campaign, and we were sending email, text correspondences, and setting it up so the agent would manually call those leads. Well, what we found is that there's a lot of cases where those expireds, cancels, or withdrawns will be relisted within the same day by that agent that was originally working with that. And so we want to make sure that we keep our agents out of trouble, out of hot water with your local board, and make sure that you guys are following your code of ethics to the letter. So what we've done is we've made quite a few changes, and this is going to be updated on everybody's account within the next day or two. Should be within the next day, but give us 2 just in case. We've got a couple of automations that we've got to work out. So on here, Realtor code of ethics, number 1, we have to make sure that contact does not happen if the property is relisted. So this means that we have to put a layer of roadblocks in place, so to speak, but a layer of checking on the agent's behalf. So when you guys have a new lead that comes in from an expired, a withdrawn, or a canceled, we must do additional due diligence. We need to make sure that that lead, when it comes in, we need to make sure that that property is not currently listed on the MLS. So if we have an expired, we just go in, we double check in the MLS that particular address or based off the MLS number, and we go and look up that property and make sure that it is no longer listed and it's not on the MLS. If the property is relisted, and the campaign goes out, we can be in direct violation of that code of ethics. So make sure that the listing is not relisted on the MLS. And if that is the case, you are clear to email, text, call, direct mail, as long as the property is no longer listed. So we set up roadblocks to make sure that you guys are checking MLS prior, and I'll be getting into that 2 slides down so that we guys know what's going on. So what we've changed in the updates, we've updated pipeline stages. We've modified it so that you guys have the opportunity to make those checks in your MLS before you simply move that lead into the next stage of the pipeline. And I've got a slide here that's going to show you guys 3 different ways that you can move that lead from stage 1 to stage 2, stage 3. So you guys will have 3 different options on how you wish to proceed moving these leads into the next pipeline stage. We are also adding generic voicemail drops to all of your guys' workflows. You're going to hear my voice on these voicemail drops. But essentially it's just going to be a generic voicemail drop letting them know that there's a local real estate professional that would be extremely happy to work with them or chat with them regarding their for sale by owner, or they're expired, they're canceled, they're withdrawn. So that way we have messaging that goes out to them using your guys' Twilio phone number from your system. It's just me on the voicemail. Now, we do recommend that every single person that's in our platform goes ahead and re-records these voicemails once you guys have them live in your account. We'll touch base on where they're at on Thursday, because I know everything will be done by then. We'll touch base on where everything's at on Thursday so that you guys know where to go to edit, modify, and change those voicemail clips that are going to be preloaded in the system. We have also started adding in the listings to leads PDFs for the seller side into these Fsbo's expireds, canceled, and withdrawn campaigns. Now, we don't have a ton of data on the expired, withdrawn, and canceled for PDFs that we can use, but we can recycle some of those seller PDFs so that we can help educate and inform those sellers so that they can make a decision on which agent they really want to work with. And the more education and the more information that we can provide to them, the better the trust is going to be built on your behalf right out of the gate. and give you guys a much better position to be able to work with that particular client. We're also adding in new workflows to accommodate all of the additional automations that we are putting in place. So let's go ahead and take a look at the new pipeline stages. So before, we had a Fsbo, then we had a Fsbo mailer. We had an expired mailer, a canceled mailer, a withdrawn, and a withdrawn mailer. So what we're doing now is we're changing things up. So we're going to start out, and this is going to show Fsbos in here as well, because it's all part of the same pipeline. So your leads are either going to enter one of two buckets right out of the gate. So they're either going to show up under the Fsbo pipeline stage, or they're going to show up in the canceled, expired, and withdrawn stage. I'm of the belief that a canceled, and expired, and a withdrawn can all be dealt with or followed up with in the same way, because they had a home that was listed and it's no longer listed. So I kind of look at all three of those lead sources in the exact same way, because it's a pre-listed property. It's no longer listed. We need to go after them, find out if we have the opportunity to sell their house, see if we can get it back on the market for them after we've done our due diligence, and make sure that other agents, the original agent, hasn't already relisted the property. So what you guys would be doing is actually taking the lead from Fsbo, and you have two different options. We're also adding in pricing on these, and we're adding in, so going forward, none of the old leads will have this, but new leads will once we push this live. So either tomorrow or Thursday, there's going to be a price point that's going to be listed in there. And there's also going to be the address of the property listed in there. So in your pipeline stage here, you will be able to see, and let me actually show you what this looks like. So this section here will actually show you the address and the price by Thursday. So that way you guys can quickly go, hey, this is a $550,000 house. I'm going to drag and drop this and move it to the postcard, because I want to do a postcard and I want to do a voicemail drop to them. So Fsbo is handled a little bit different from expired, canceled, withdrawn. The Fsbos will have text and email campaigns that will continue to go out with them, because we're 100% in the clear to do so. On the canceled, expired, withdrawn, this is going to require a little bit more consciousness from the agent as to how we go about following up with that lead. So if we have a canceled, again, number one, we got to check the MLS, make sure that it is not relisted on the MLS. We can drag and drop that lead into the voicemail, where we just send out a voicemail drop, or we can drag and drop it into the voicemail plus postcard campaign. Now, this postcard campaign is going to consist of 4 different mailers that are going to go out to those contacts. And so we want to make sure that you're choosing what the appropriate one is based off of the value of that lead. So let's just say, for example, again, we're going to have price point on here. You have a lead. Lead 1 is $250,000 home. Lead 2 is a $550,000 home. 250 isn't really what we want to work with in our particular market, but the 550 is. So we can drag and drop the 550 over into the postcard campaign with voicemail drop, and we can move the 250 into just the voicemail drop campaign. Now, you guys can see that we do have a second stage here for voicemail drop number 2. We have that on the Fsbos and on the canceled, the expireds, and the withdrawals. This has been put in place methodically so that you will actually go and double check that particular canceled, expired, withdrawn, and cross-reference with the MLS one more time prior to continuing your follow-up with that lead, because we shouldn't be pushing that follow-up continuously unless we know for a fact that that lead is not relisted in the MLS. So this is the main goal of this, is to make sure that we are following that code of ethics and that we are keeping you guys out of hot water in your local marketplace. So does anybody have any questions on how these are going to work, how these particular opportunity or pipeline stages will work? Awesome. So next thing is, here's what we're going to do is just kind of break down the pipeline stages and the changes. The Fsbos and the canceled, expired, withdrawn are essentially the exact same. So we'll breeze through these after we get through the Fsbo. But the initial pipeline stage on the Fsbo is going to be Fsbo. So the initial stage where you can choose whether you wish to work the lead or not. So your leads are all from all of your Fsbos are going to fall into this bucket right here, and they're all going to populate under Fsbos. Voicemail drop 1, this stage will deliver a voicemail drop to the Fsbo. For Fsbos, this will also be a text, email, and call campaign that will be launched. So Fsbos alone will get this. The expireds, cancels, withdrawals aren't going to get the additional follow-up built into it. And that is because, again, we have to double check on that expired every time we send out a correspondence to them to make sure that that expired is not relisted, so you guys don't get in trouble. So Fsbo, we have two options to drag this into: either the Fsbo, the Fsbo VM drop, which is just going to be the campaign inside of the CRM, or the VM drop plus postcard. And I'm going to go ahead and add this here as well, so you guys can see this will be a text, email, and call campaign as well. So we'll get a voicemail drop campaign that's in there, and we'll have text, email, and call campaigns all under this one. And then this voicemail drop 2 gives us the opportunity to check and make sure that the Fsbo is still listed for sale by owner. And if the Fsbo is still listed for sale, we still want to get in contact with them. This one actually isn't going to launch this because it's already in place, but it gives us another stage to check if this lead is, or if this particular property is now pending or under contract, or it is being sold. We can then simply turn off the voicemail drop 1. So this is going to be the exact same thing on the canceled that we just covered on expired. The main caveat here is that there isn't going to be an additional campaign that goes out after this. So once we have the, let's just go C/E/W. Once we have this campaign that goes out, copy this and put this down here. You guys can see I quickly copied and pasted those slides. Once we get to voicemail drop 1, we want to make sure, or voicemail drop 1 or drop 1 plus postcard campaign, we want to make sure before we move them into the second voicemail that we are doing another layer on this and checking just to make sure that that canceled, expired, withdrawn has not been relisted, so that we aren't violating the code of ethics. So this is simply a stop loss that we're putting in place, a roadblock, so to speak, to make sure that we don't send out any additional correspondences without knowing that that particular listing has been relisted or not. It's to make sure we stay out of trouble. The very next thing we're going to look at is what's new in the Fsbo workflows, and then we also have a new and canceled, expired. Again, these are essentially the exact same. So voicemail drops are being added to workflows. It's going to be my voice on there. It's going to be a very generic voicemail that's going to be dropped. They will be able to call directly back into your phone. And if you guys wish to record your own voicemails on Thursday, once we have all of this live, we will do a training showing you guys how to go in, record your own voicemail so that you can add it to the system and have your voicemail drops listed there directly. We are going to be lowering the number of texts and emails to the Fsbos and also to the canceled, expired, withdrawals. So again, all this is the same for Fsbos and canceled, expired, withdrawals. So I'll just kind of cover it on the Fsbo stage, and then we'll go into the different ways that we can modify what stage our leads are in. So voicemail drops are going to be added to the workflows. We're going to be lowering the number of texts and emails, and we're going to be elongating that pattern so that we aren't hitting them too fast and too hard, because we've seen a good number of negative responses on those. We still have people that are getting appointments booked. Kelly just had one today. Sue, I don't know if it came from the workflow or if it was just from contacts that you were making on your own. But we have still been getting appointments on the Fsbos, the canceled, expireds, but we want to shorten the longevity of the campaign, and we also want to hit them less often, so we aren't upsetting anybody, and we're giving you guys a better opportunity to convert. We're going to be adding additional manual calls to the workflows for Fsbos and the canceled, expireds, withdrawals, so that way you guys can go in and make manual dials through the auto dialer and reach out to all of those folks. And then we are taking some of the really cool, our favorite PDFs that we have found in listings to leads. They've got a couple that are geared specifically towards Fsbo, but then primarily just seller side. Whether it's a Fsbo, a canceled, expired, or a withdrawn, they all have one thing in common: they're trying to sell their house. So the more information that we can provide to them, the more power they have when it comes to making a decision on how they're going to go about doing that, whether they want to work with an agent, whether they have their price listed right on the home, any kind of updates they need to do as far as decluttering, depersonalizing, just making that home ready for sale. We can give them a ton of additional information, which again is going to build trust. Again, it's all the same thing for the expireds. So the next thing we're going to dive into is how to actually update the pipeline stage in your opportunities. So you guys can see right here, this is just from your guys' opportunity section, and that will be here under opportunities. So all you guys have to do is take that lead from Fsbo or canceled, expired, withdrawn, click on the contact and drag it. You drop it into the Fsbo VM drop. It's going to send out the voicemail, and it's also going to get them launched on a campaign with text, emails, and automated calls. If you drop it into the postcard, plus the voicemail drop plus postcard, this is going to launch the initial campaign with text, emails, calls, voicemail drops, and it's also going to launch a postcard mailer campaign in Mailbox Power so that we can send out a series of postcards to that for sale by owner and give ourselves a better opportunity to convert that lead. So that's option and way number one. Way number two is going to be under the actual contact record. In the contact record, you can click on the edit button next to the opportunity, and we can actually go ahead and change which pipeline stage they're in. So I'll demonstrate that really fast here. So if we go ahead and click on the contact record, this can either be found from the opportunities section here by simply clicking on the name once it underlines, or you can find them under the contact smart list and click on the name and open it up. Once you've done that, you'll see opportunities down here at the bottom in the very first list under contact. There is a small box with a pencil here. If we click on that, it allows us to edit the pipeline stage. So from here, what we can do is, let's say, hey, we want to stay within this My Plus Leads Mailbox Power, and we want to just move them to voicemail drop 1 plus postcard campaign. Boom, we click update. That particular opportunity has been updated. And if we jump back to opportunities, we can say William was in Fsbo. He is now in voicemail drop 1 plus postcard campaign. Now I'm going to drag and drop this back. The next way to edit this is actually from the smart list. I really like this method a lot because you can do multiple at one time. So let's say you have a smart list that is set up and you've gone ahead and added filters in. Let's say that you had a filter for the price. So this is going to be the actual price that was listed on this is the price that was listed on My Plus Leads. You would then go into columns, scroll down, and we don't have any My Plus Leads coming into this account, so this is a poor example, but you can go into columns and you can scroll down to price. And then you will actually be able to have price listed in your columns, and you'll be able to see what your leads value is right there. So let's just say, for example, under contacts, we had that filter set and William's price point was in a desired price point that we wanted to do. And let's say Brian's contact was as well. You guys can select the contacts, as many as you would like, to move into that pipeline stage. We can say, okay, these two are leads that I actually want to move into the mailer and the follow-up campaign. So all we do now is click pipeline change, and then we select the pipeline that we want them to be in, and we select the stage. So we would say Fsbo VM drop plus postcard, or we would do canceled, expired, withdrawn. I'd only recommend doing this on the Fsbos though, because you're going to want to cross-reference every single one of these addresses to make sure they aren't on the MLS. Now, all we have to do, there is an action that we have to enter here for the report. So we just say add to FSBO VM plus campaign plus postcards. And just go ahead and click add new opportunity. And so this bulk action, what's going to happen is it's going to create a bulk action. It's going to take both of these contact records and it's going to move them into that particular stage in the pipeline. Sometimes it takes a minute for the system to recognize each of them and move them over. So I'm going to refresh the screen and both the contacts should be there. If it's not, we'll refresh again here in just a moment. But
And guys, I'd say a good idea for doing a little bit of a daily task is just going in at one point and go through the new leads for the day, make sure that the homes are okay, and then you can just select all of those and add them to the pipeline stage.
definitely. And we can actually go back and double check, cross-reference these bulk actions to make sure that both of them happened and that it was a success. So for some reason, it's not updating this second, but it will be updated very soon, and it'll have both contacts that are in there. It shows that it was a success. So both William and myself should be in that opportunity pipeline stage. It's just going to take a second for the system to catch up. But that should cover all the different ways that you guys can edit or update those pipeline stages. So you've got 3 different ways to modify those or change those so that you can create automations. And a spoiler alert, I'm going to be building in a 4th way to do this, because I'm going to start building an actual client portal for your clients or your leads, so that you can create quick actions inside of that particular portal. That's coming down the road, though. We want everybody to get familiar with the actual system itself and how it all works. And this would be kind of an add-on to save some time and give you guys a little bit more freedom on what you are doing. So
Brian, can you show kind of the going through the contact and smart list? And I just feel like that's going to be one of the most important ways, is to show them how they can start at the top. Like if I were to to be doing a daily setup, I would start at the top of the first lead. I would click into the contact record. I would then go to general info. I would copy the home address and then search the address, make sure it's okay on the MLS. Then I can go back to the contact record. I say, okay, this listing is good. I can send out information. Then I'd go back to the contact. Then I would go down to the opportunity section and I would change the pipeline stage that they're in. So you're in Sue's account. We haven't updated the pipeline stages, but
and I don't know if we want to update Sue's yet. We might do Sue's individually because Sue has her own pipeline stages that have been added
that I made. Yep.
Yeah, so we want to make sure that we update hers one-off individually. Very simple, very simplistic way to go ahead and do that. So again, you guys will be able to go to general info, copy the address from here, search it in your MLS. I'm just doing a Google search because I don't have MLS access. Search within your MLS, make sure the property is no longer listed, and then you can come back and simply modify it here. You can come back and then grab that contact from your opportunity pipelines, or you can do that directly from your smart list itself. Now, the main reason I pulled up Sue's account is because there's a couple of things that I want to take a look at in here. So we should have price coming through on every single canceled, expired, and withdrawn. So I want to add that in as a pipeline here, or as a column.
Add the address.
And I'm going to, yeah, we can do that as well.
Yeah.
I think the price is more important than the address, though, personally, but this way you guys could do it in bulk. So I'm totally fine with that. Let's find full address. So this is actually going to give you guys a little bit faster opportunity to do this, because you can copy the address directly from here, search for it on your MLS, and then if it's okay, all you have to do is check the box, copy the next one, paste, come back.
Does it give you MLS, Brian, as a dropdown?
I'm sorry?
On the columns, can it give you an MLS number?
Let's see if we provide.
The reason I'm asking is, as an agent, this would be a much easier way if it did give us the MLS number, if it came over from MyPlus. If it did, now check this out. All that they can literally, now check this out. They can copy every one of those, drop it into their MLS, and have it all right there in front of them, so they don't have to keep going back and forth.
Awesome. And so here's another thing I'm going to show you guys. You can also add in the particular tags. So whether it's a Fsbo, canceled, expired, withdrawn, we can create a list where, hey, we've got these columns here with MLS number. Since these are Fsbos, they aren't going to have an MLS number, more than likely. They really shouldn't. But we can see this list here of our Fsbos, and we can then go ahead and save this as FSBO. And your columns, you don't have to say anything about your columns and how you save this, but just make sure that you guys save these smart lists so that you can see the additional information and make life easier. As long as you've added the columns in before you've gone ahead and saved the smart list, the columns are going to be there every time you go back to that smart list. So let's just say, for example, we wanted every property that was over 300,000 that we wanted to set up to send a mailer out to. We can quickly look at the price and go, okay, 350, here's 460, here's 449. We don't want this 230, we don't want the 205. You know what? The 285 is a little under what we want, but we're going to actually add this in just for grins. 475, cool. 205, no. 454. So you guys can quickly go down this list and pick out all of the individuals that you want to send mailers out to. 280, no. 299.5, close enough. 350, 298, yep. 339, yes. 315, yes. 440 or 499, yes. 340, yes. All right, then you can say, hey, these are the ones that I want to send mailers out to. You can then go and click on the pipeline change. Simply going to select the My Plus leads, and then you'd select the respective pipeline that you wanted to move it into to launch that campaign. So you can do all of that in one fell swoop, just by reviewing the data and information that's directly in front of you guys. It looks like we lost Sue. No,
She's still there.
Oh, she just moved to a different spot. Go ahead, Sue. You have a question.
So I ran into something unique. Well, probably not that unique, but anyway, this woman came in as a Fsbo. I was just seeing if Zillow showed if Fsbos had gone under contract. And then I was going after my cancels, and then she showed up under my cancels because I had it sorted as a smart list. And then when I went into her record, I saw that she had both Fsbo and canceled workflows. So I was just wondering, is there, other than looking at all the tags, is there any way to know that somebody might have possibly listed if they were a Fsbo? Because that's what happened. She listed must have signed a 14-day listing agreement, and it went to pending, and then it went to canceled.
Well, what happens, Sue, is that data is coming over automatically. So probably what happened is it came over with the tag from Zapier as a canceled. And then she went and listed Fsbo a couple days later. And then My Plus grabbed it and said, oh, here's the new Fsbo, and brought it over. Since the lead was already there, it added the additional tag. And that's what I think is what happened. So if I see something like that, more than likely, I'm going to think, well, they were listed for sale. Now they're trying to do it on their own. So that's why both tags. And that's actually good information, because now you can go back into the MLS and pull that data and look at the pictures of the home and all of the different things, and give you a better understanding of what state they're in. What does the house look like? They were listed with this agent. Do you know anything about that agent? Is that a premier agent? Like, what's their motivation for, canceling their listing? So there's a lot of good data there, but that stuff's coming in automatically from My Plus.
But actually, they were a Fsbo first and then listed with an agent for 14 days.
Same scenario. They just flipped it then. Yeah. That's why this training is so important, guys, because here's one of the things Brian and I were talking about. We get really excited as agents when we hear the word automation. Oh my gosh, you can automate. The dirty little secret in real estate is automation is a good thing, but you have to manage it. And so what we're saying is this is going to, I hate to use the word force, but this is going to force agents to actually start doing the business of real estate by going in and looking at these things and making sure, number one, that this is a valid lead. Since it's all right there and the data's coming in, it literally does it. Now, let me tell you, Sue, what I would do in a situation like that. I would find out if they're no longer listed and they're not a Fsbo. I would send them a postcard immediately. Hey, I noticed this and I noticed that. Would you be open to a conversation and go over some options you might not be aware of that you have? If you guys are still thinking of selling your home, we don't have to talk about listing, but let me share some options. Man, I would be on that like white on rice. Something disconnected with the agent, and they didn't have a good experience with the Fsbo, so they just backed off, right?
Yep.
So now what we have to do is solve that issue. And it comes by deep diving. And a lot of times I can go look at the MLS, the listing, and probably 50% of why they came off, I can find out in the listing, in the description, in the commission structure. I can find out the pictures, whatever. We can find that out fairly quickly by looking at that. And then the Zillow Fsbo to see what they did and what their motivation is. But anyway, I would be on that like white or rice, man. I'd be sending them a postcard like today.
Well, and Sue, to help answer your question on that as well, you can also, when you're selecting a tag here and creating your smart list, you can also say any of, and so we could say canceled, expired, Fsbo, and withdrawn. That way, as we scroll down, we can see, okay, this one's got additional tags. Okay, it's just remove from all workflows. This one's delete. This one's listed. Then we can look here, remove from all workflows. And then there was one that has canceled. So this is originally listed as Fsbo, and then it also has the canceled on there. So that can give you a little bit better idea. So you can quickly discern, hey, this is a Fsbo and a canceled. So you can decide whether or not you want to send out that mailer to that particular lead. You can see there's another one of them. This is a Fsbo, but it is also canceled here as well. And they did respond. Whether the response was nice or not is up to finding out, but scheduled appointment. I like that. So is Miguel the one that you booked?
Yes.
Awesome. Good job
Love it.
adding the tag and staying on top of your contacts. I love that.
So here's a really cool way, guys, that you can also take this new way of looking at Fsbo's canceled, expires, withdrawals, the way that Brian and William have done this is, and y'all know I'm big into direct mail. One of the things that I think is important is, let's say they're canceled, withdrawn, expired, and they've not relisted. So this is going to make you go in and make sure this is not somebody that you're going to get in trouble with by talking to. So if they are definitely off the market, sometimes I go into the MLS, and Brian, this one, we call this the Outlaw mailer secret. So here's what happens. I go ahead and look at their listing on the MLS. And usually the pictures are really crappy. The description is terrible. It might start off with owner desperate, taking all offers. I've seen that crap. It might be just 3 lines. It might be spelling errors, right? And then you look at the description. There's hardly anything with, like on the, you guys know what I'm talking about. The agents are lazy and they don't put all the data on there, right? So what I do is I print that. And then I have that in front, and I print it in color. And I have it in front of me. And then I take a red Sharpie. This, guys, this is like a ninja tactic here. So you go into your leads to ROI, you find that home that's no longer listed, and then you print the MLS sheet, right? Don't do 3 or 4, just print the front page and the back page as one. So it's a reverse copy. Then take your Sharpie and circle the home pictures. If they stink, circle the description. If it's a really crappy description or it's not very large, circle days on market and then the price. And if it's like a commission of 2%, circle that, right? And then on the back of it, write in all capital letters, or not all capital, but in not cursive, I know why your home failed to sell with the last realtor, period. Call or text me at this number and I'll give you the exact reason why I think your home didn't sell. The ninja, whatever. I would take that Outlaw mailer, I would fold it up, and I would mail that to them. Guys, that is a killer strategy for your expired, cancel, withdrawn. You don't have to send them a postcard. That could be a standalone. If you email, or if you mailed that to me and my house was listed for selling, then I would probably be okay. Why? I would call you. And I can tell you this much, no agent's doing that. So this system that Brian and William have set up, where you can go in every day and check on your expires, canceled, withdrawals, make sure they're still, guys, you could fire off a letter, 50, what is it now? Brian, 55, 56 cents now for a letter?
I believe so.
40.
Okay.
40?
Boom.
Let's find out.
I think it's a 50, 55 or 50. I don't know. I do postcards and I don't do letters, but the thing is, guys, that is a killer strategy. We call it the Outlaw Demon Mailer. And you send them their MLS sheet and you circle it. Like, remember when you guys were in school and you get your test?
I feel like you're about to
from
give
the
him an
teacher?
F, Kelly.
Yeah, well, you got your thing back and it was all like red circles. Well, They see that and they're like, and their eyes are going to be drawn. So you can tell them, look at the pictures. Those are not pictures. You get one chance at this, Mr. Expired, cancel, withdrawn. And I think that if we tweak this and really gave a presentation to make your home stand out, that would be helpful. Also, your description. Oh, and by the way, buyer's agents are greedy and they typically don't show 2% homes, right? I mean, these are ways for you guys to get in there and start dropping some knowledge bombs on them. And I've actually over the years, I've used that and gotten some listings.
So I'm going in and taking a look really quick to see what costs look like for the mailers.
Just a regular US stamp. It's been a while since I did a letter with a stamp. $0.58. So for 58 cents, you print that color on your printer, you address the letter. And I mean, imagine, guys, you can do this literally in under 10 minutes for about $1 to $2 a day. If you're getting 2 to 4 expireds, canceled, withdrawals that you say in your mind, I want to work with those. I would send that letter like today. I would go in and fire off a postcard that they'll get like 4 or 5 days after that letter goes in. And man, talk about the responses. And guys, here's the other thing. For those of you having canceled, expired, withdrawn, and Fsbos dumped in, if you're getting at least 2 good solid leads a day dumped into your platform, that's 60 minimum. Now I get way more than that on mine, but just go with 2, maybe 1 expired, 1 Fsbo. You're getting 60 home seller leads every month in your system. And if you're doing what these guys are saying, you're literally forcing yourself to go in your CRM and take a look at that home. 60 of these minimum, you're going to get some appointments. If you do this today and you forget to do it for 5 days, good luck. But this is a great way to force yourself to get proactive with your marketing. And man, I really like what you're doing here, guys, with the setup for this. I think it's the perfect setup for agents.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also, guys, in the near future, there will be a update to the contact and smart list section so that we actually will be able to push out a smart list to all of our sub accounts. It'll be global smart lists. So when that day comes here shortly, we will be launching out a global smart list that will have the addresses, it will have the price tag, it will have the MLS ID number listed. We'll probably do one for Fsbos, canceled, expired, withdrawns, and maybe Facebook leads. So
since Lisa showed up late, I do want to show the slideshow. And I'll actually just share this out to you, Lisa, so that you've got it, so you can see what updates we've made. But we've done a lot of updates to the way we're going to be working the canceled, expireds, withdrawns. So let me actually just dive in here, grab your email address really quick. I'll forward this off to you via email, so you've got it, just so that you can see all the updates. And it'll save you the time of going back and rewatching the whole video. Another big thing that I really want to make sure that we put a focus on going forward for everyone is the utilization of your guys' smart lists and setting up your list so that you see the data that's going to give you the most help right out of the gate. We want you guys to be able to jump in and go, hey, you know, this is a lead that I want to call. This is a lead I don't want to call, right? And we're going to make you a viewer so that I don't have anything change. So you should have this slide deck in your inbox here in just a moment, Lisa, so that you can go back through all the updates and just see what's going on. It'll just take you a minute to kind of go through all this. But in your guys' accounts, move this back over and we'll go into contacts. Let's actually we'll jump back into Sue's account because we've got some good stuff that's been loaded into here. So your guys' smart lists, I want to make sure that when you guys are creating these, that you are making the smart list to give you all of your desired information that you want in front of you. Sue,
Yep.
Are you running any buyer ads right now? Or are we just focusing on the seller side?
just the seller side, if I'm correct, right, Sue?
Okay.
We'd ran a buyer ad for just a little bit.
Yeah, I
here's a
think the
couple.
buyer ad finished.
Okay.
Okay, let me see what we have here. So we've got addresses, what property they came in on. Okay. Looks like they did call back in. So you guys are going to be able to go in and create smart lists based off of just about anything that you would like in the system. So every single one of the custom fields, if we open up a contact record and we go and look under additional information, every single one of these fields can be used. And I'm going to unhide all of the empties. So you guys can see there's a ton of additional contact fields that are in here with data points that you guys can add in for those contacts. You can use every single one of these in your columns or in your smart list for how you want to search and differentiate your contacts. So if we jump back out to this regular list, and there was something that I saw that was assessed value. So we can actually scroll down and grab this assessed value, and we can see the assessed value on the home. That column now populates and gives us all that information. But if we click back from here into that smart list, that data is more than likely not going to be there anymore. So if we click back, it's going to take us back to the all. That data is not going to be listed back onto the smart list. So we actually, once we've updated columns, we need to make sure that we're adding in a couple of filters. And once we've added in particular columns, we then need to go ahead and save this. So you can see if I go to save here, since I've changed the columns, oh, looks like Dev actually pushed something through. You didn't used to be able to save this smart list unless you actually added a filter. So it looks like our dev team got this live and didn't tell us, which I'm cool with. I'm happy that it's here. But we can add in, say, assess values so that we can see that. And okay, one filter does have to be saved. So we would go in and make sure that assess values is not empty, right? And then we would just go and hit plus, and we would just name this assessed values, hit save. And now, as long as we have assessed values is not empty, and we now have that column that's been added. So if we want to go back and view this list at any time, we just click on the smart list here, and the smart list is loaded and all of that information is available. So a couple of things that I would really push, especially for those that are doing campaigns for buyers as well. And I feel that the buyer campaigns are an absolute necessity. Whether you want to work with buyers or not, you can always refer those buyers off to another agent in your marketplace. But the reason that it's so important is because think about how much leverage you can have walking into a listing. And after 6 months, you're going to have 100 people in each bucket. So with the ads that we're running in listings to leads for buyers, we're asking how many beds and baths they want in the home, what their desired price range is, and what their time frame to move is. How much power are you going to have if you walk into a listing presentation where it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, and that house is listed for $300,000, and you have a list of potential buyers looking for 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses between 300 and 350, between 250 and 300,000, and you can go in and make a smart list within a matter of seconds of being in that appointment and show them, hey, I've got 250 buyers right here that are looking for a house just like yours. Organizing your database is not only going to make your life easier to be able to communicate with the specific buyers and sellers that you want to, but it's also going to be able to be used as an extremely powerful tool when you walk into a listing to showcase how detailed, how organized you are, and how many buyers you have that are already looking for that particular seller's home. I don't think that you're going to have really much more power than being able to show them, hey, I've got 350 people that are looking for basically your exact house right here, right now in this list. And this is exactly where I'm going to start by marketing your home. I'm going to market them to these buyers that are looking for a house just like yours. I think that's extremely important and very, very powerful in a listing presentation. What are your thoughts, Kelly? Are there any additions that you would add on to that?
No, I think as we go on, we'll continue adding on time-tested stuff. But for me as an agent, the value is in me being able to work with actual clients and doing it in a way that I'm compliant I mean, all of my compliances are handled. And I've been doing this long enough, Brian, that anytime we automate stuff like this and agents hear that word automate, we just get lazy, right? We expect the emails and the text to just suddenly give us a listing appointment. And so this is a great system to get us as agents in there. And I think, and when I coach and train, I tell agents, this is a perfect example for why at 8 o'clock in the morning, you should be on your system, getting all of this stuff set up and launched for the day with all the other marketing. What a great way. And like I said, if you get minimum 60 of these a month, think of the appointments you're going to have on month 2, then month 3, then month 4. I mean, the average agent does about 5 deals a year. If you do this every day, like we just said, because this data is coming into your system, how many listings are you going to get? How many closings are you going to get? But consistency is the secret spice in our kitchen. And this allows agents to be super consistent and to be compliant. So I think this is a perfect setup for an agent. And if I didn't know anything else about the system and I saw this today, I would be like, okay, let's do this, because this is what's going to get me my appointments. Heck, I was telling Sue at the beginning, this is how I got my Fsbo appointment today. Just doing strategies like this.
Heck yeah. I mean, look at all those created leads from all the canceleds and expireds right there for Sue in one day. That's 10, 15 people to go through in one single day right there. Right? So that's
It's
pretty
actually
amazing.
20. These are all from the 26, except for the very first one.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there's a whole list of people right there that were just loaded over, and a lot of awesome data to go through. So I'm
Kelly,
gonna
what would you?
Yeah.
Continue, Sue. Sorry.
No, sorry. What other? I mean, if they're canceled, what other options would you offer people? Obviously, I understand what you said on the MLS sheet, but what would you do to give them a little different twist?
Okay, so my lead in to them would be, listen, I know you guys had your home listed for sale, and obviously your home canceled, expired, it withdrew, whatever. And more than likely, it probably wasn't the best experience. Would you have a conversation with me? Allow me to hear your story. I might or might not be able to help you guys, but what I'd love to do is bring some balance to this equation. If you guys are really still considering selling your home, the best thing I can do for you is give you options. Do you have 30 minutes for me on this date? We won't be talking about listing your home. Let's talk about why your home didn't sell. And then before we can even talk about listing, let's come up with a strategy to finally get you sold and moved on to your future plans. Mr. Canceled, does that sound fair? That's the conversation. This way, it doesn't feel like I'm coming in there with a contract to sign, and it's just, let's talk. The problem with agents is we lose this concept of bringing value, Sue. We want to bring value to them, not, hey, you should list with me because I can do all of this great stuff. If we can overwhelm them with value, and sometimes value is just, I know what you went through. Not all agents are the same. Would you allow me to show you a different way to give you options? That's a conversation they would be willing to listen to. So that's how I would approach it. I wouldn't start talking commission and, oh, we sold 5,000 homes in EXP in Florida last year. And I would just simply state, let me see let's talk about why your home didn't sell. And then allow me to go over some options you might not have explored with the last agent that might fit within your time frame and with your family's goals. That's a conversation I would be willing to have with an agent.
And then what would you give them?
Like that. Huh?
Well, and then what kind of options would you give them when you got there? I guess that's.
Oh my goodness. So see, that comes down to what your offers are. So let me just kind of give you a landscape, and this is what I've done. I've taken some time to go ahead and I kind of did it sneakily, but in the last 2 years, I have become the admin of several large buy-sell groups here in Central Florida. I have several groups that have over 50,000 members, okay? I also have Mailbox Power. So I'm going to use that to show how we're going after buyers with a 700 credit score, right? I also am going to talk about using the MLS to go out and find already listed homeowners who 80% are going to be buying a home. And I'm going to share with them how this is why agents that list homes fail. They don't actively market for their prospect to find a buyer. So I'm going to start with my Facebook groups. I'm going to start with Mailbox Power, how I'm going to use this software to go and attract buyers. I'm going to also talk about things like going after already listed homes that are active or pending and show them with proof. I'll bring 10 with me of people that we will immediately start marketing on their behalf to start driving people to come preview your home. So by the time I'm done, I'm going to overwhelm them, not with comps, not with my brokerage did this, not with I have 500 reviews on Google and Zillow, and when I pass wind, they sell it in India as fragrance. I'm not doing that crap. I'm literally going to share with them what makes me different. And these are the options, Mr. Canceled, Withdrawn, Expired, that you can also employ. And then I'm going to layer that, Sue, with offers like an easy exit listing, Mr. and Mrs. Fsbo Canceled, whatever. When I do take a listing and reverse psychology, I don't always take a listing, Mr. Fsbo, just like you don't hire every agent that comes in your home. I have to make sure that we are both going to work together because I spend a lot of time, effort, talent, and money to get my projects or my property sold. So I lead with that, but you've got to layer your offers with what makes you different. So all of that stuff that I just said, you can go in without having 15, 20 comps and all of that stuff. You just go in there, find out what their goals are. This is what makes me different. Now, not everybody listening to this, either live or recorded, are going to have Facebook groups with 50,000 plus members, but you dang well can use Mailbox Power if you've got it, to share how you can attract buyers, to share how you can go find every buyer within 5 miles of that home that's renting with a 700 credit score that makes $100,000 a year, right? No other agent's doing that. You can share with them how you're going to go after every home listed within 15 miles of their home. And so what I'm trying to say, Sue, is that's how you're different without coming across as, hey, I want to get your listing. You're just trying to overwhelm them with value and your offers so that they're like, well, God, that last agent didn't say half of this crap, right? They just wanted to argue about our home's value for 30 minutes. So that's how you handle the cancel, withdrawn, expired. It's not with, hey, I want to come list your home. It's, hey, I don't know that I want to list your home, but can we get together and find out why the last agent failed you? That's a conversation. And you got to feel confident, Sue. You got to do just like I said. You got to say what I just said without sounding arrogant, cocky, or like an appliance salesman. It's, hey, listen, let's get together. We don't even know if we're going to do business together, but let's have a conversation. And I want you to explain to me why you think the home didn't sell with the last agent. I tell you right now, they're going to have that conversation. They're going to be like, yeah, let's do that. Let's talk about this loser that I hired. I can see already, Brian, we probably should spend another training maybe in January on offers and psychology of getting the appointment. I think that would be great, and invite the entire, like everybody on the team, get them on this call, because I think that would help. I mean, Sue asked a good question there. Great, Brian, we've got the leads. Now what? What are we going to say to them? What makes us different? Why am I different as an agent than the power agent with KW or with EXP or Caldwell? What makes me different? Why does that person want to do business with me? And it comes down to your presentation, your offers, and how comfortable they feel with you and how much value you brought to the table with them. I think that would be a great training for January.
I completely agree. I think that would be an awesome one. Now I'm actually going in and taking a look at some smart lists so that I can give you guys an idea of what you guys would be looking at if you were to do that buyer side for 1 year. So this is a client of ours that has done the buyer side for run buyer ads for at least a year with us. And I just kind of want to break this down and show you guys really fast how you can organize and detail out your database. So you can see here that we have a smart list that's been saved. That's 3 beds, 2 baths. This is between the price range of 200 and 300,000. After 1 year of running ads, and this was 2 different ads that were running, collecting the same kind of data. Again, beds, baths, price range, and time frame to buy or sell. And so we can see that within 1 year, we have 676 records that are looking for 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and are looking between 200,000 and 300,000. This is in Las Vegas. But if you guys run a buyer campaign for 1 year, you're running about $10 to $15 a day on that buyer campaign. by the end of that year, you should be able to go in and you'll have these pools where you have between 300 and 800 buyers in each individual category that we're looking for. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think if I were to walk into a listing presentation for a $250,000 house that was 3 beds and 2 baths, and I was able to show them this list that I was going to prospect, that's 676 people deep looking for a 3-bedroom, 2 house between 200 and 300K, I think I'm going to catch that seller's attention. Absolutely, I feel I'm going to catch that seller's attention. So this is in itself, this is a unique selling proposition in its own that you can leverage just from winning more business for yourself as it is. I mean, if we look at just response rates on these, this particular agent, the response rate that they had on these follow-up campaigns is absolutely through the freaking roof. So if we go in and we take a look at these buyer campaigns, excuse me, they're in here. We ran a lot of tests here. 910 leads have gone through the BKA buyer campaign. The A lead, 67.58% response rate. Not everybody's going to get this high of a response rate. This campaign works extremely well in the Vegas market. The C campaign, which this is any lead that's 6 months or longer out, 46.29% response rate. So if you have the opportunity and you're good at converting your leads, you have 67% opportunity chance here. 615 out of 910 leads responded. I think that if you had, let's just say, a 20% conversion rate that you can do on these responded leads, if somebody's responded and has started the conversation, I think a 20% rate of conversion wouldn't be too bad. That would be pretty good for that response. That 20% on response rate equals about 123 people that you could potentially be working with, that you could sell houses to. If we just look at a 10% response rate, hell, let's do a 0.03. So let's do a 3% response rate. So 615 times 0.03, you could have 18. If there was 3% based off of the replies that you got, 3% that you were able to convert, anybody could do that. I mean, I could train a squirrel to convert that. You guys were running these buyer campaigns or buyer lead ads, and you generated 910 leads and you were able to get 615 of those to respond to you. You could have 20 additional deals almost in that year. And this is, anybody could do this. 0.03% or a 3% response rate or conversion rate on 615 leads that have already said they're interested in working with you or responded to start that conversation. We shouldn't have an issue converting 3% of those. That could be 20 additional deals in your hip pocket every single year just from working those leads that respond to you automatically from your campaigns. So I'd like for you guys to keep that in mind. That is some awesome potential there. William, do you have anything else to cover with everyone today?
No, I uploaded this training into the town hall and added a description, and I think ultimately, yeah, we're gonna get this uploaded and pushed into all accounts. Sue, we're gonna do yours as a one-off because you and I have actually created a bunch of intertwining stuff there. Okay, so yeah, but ultimately this will be loaded into everybody's account, and I think this is going to be a great way to get everybody to every single day go through, do your due diligence, make sure that you're abiding by all of the correct regulations and code of ethics, and it's going to get you guys to really do more to get these seller leads too. I think it'll be just great all around. So, and then the voicemail drops on top of it. What's not to love, right? So, it's going to be a great update, a great shift. And as time goes on, we're just going to keep adding awesome stuff like this. I'm super excited for this platform. Truly am. So thank you everybody for joining us today. Is there any questions before we halt today's training?
I have a one-off question, or maybe two.
Okay.
When I went through some of my Fsbos and they've pending or they've sold their home. Is there a way when I'm inside of them that I can delete them? Or do I have to wait till I go back to contacts and then check them off to delete?
When you're inside, when you're inside what section?
If I'm in a contact, because like I'm in a contact looking at their address and then I check and I see on Zillow that they've listed or that they've sold their home. I'm inside that contact right then with the information. Can I delete them from there or do I have to get back out of them and then delete it?
That is a good question.
Could you ask that one more time?
If you go inside a lead and then you decide, they've listed or they've sold their home and I want to delete them right inside of that, is it possible to do that?
I don't think inside the actual contact record that you can. I think you have to physically go back into the contact and smart list and then delete the lead.
That was the only way I could figure out how to do it, but I just
Yep.
thought you guys have usually so many ways to do things that.
Definitely, yeah. No, for this, I think there's just the one way. You can't do it when you're actually inside the contact record. Brian, that's
Okay.
correct, right? I'm not finding one.
Yeah, that's correct. So the contact record would simply just be deleted from the smart list itself. But going into the contact record and doing a delete, we don't actually have a delete for the individual contact record inside the contact record. One of the big reasons is when we were doing testing and getting everything set up is that we had some of our internal employees that were deleting contacts inside the record. And it was where the button was placed. It just wasn't in a suitable spot. So things were getting deleted that shouldn't have been deleted. So we made it so that the deletion only happens inside of the smart list itself. That way you're checking the box, who's selected and you're going ahead and pushing that deletion through.
Okay, not a problem. And then my other question is, if you wanted to voicemail drop somebody randomly, and I mean because you have an intent, but it's not like a workflow, is it possible to do that inside of a contact, or
Yes.
do you actually?
Yep. So you can go
Absolutely,
into
you can definitely do that inside the contact itself. William,
The
if you
little
want to share your
paperclip.
screen and walk through it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so let's go into Sue's account.
Oh boy! All right.
Okay, Peter
My husband wants to know.
Wanamaker. Do you want to make a? Okay, so right here we have, this is for custom values and custom fields, merge fields. And then right here we have the paperclip. So you can add any attachment that you want right there.
Okay.
This will open up your downloads, your file explorer. So you would just simply select the file saver or the MP3 that you want and go from there.
And then I could. Yeah.
Let me
So
actually.
for the voicemail drops, those actually can only be done inside of a campaign. So you'd have to add them directly to a specific campaign to send that voicemail drop through. Otherwise, you would be sending it as a text with the particular message. So you can go ahead and you can add that voice setting to you can add that voice drop as part of your text. But if you want to actually send it out as a slide dial or a voicemail, it's going to go directly into their voicemail box. You're going to want to do that through either a workflow or a campaign. I recommend workflows because it's an easier way I just like the visual representation. But William, if you click on automation for me really fast, and then let's just say that we want to create a new workflow from scratch. I see Elisa, we'll get to you in just a second. You can start from scratch by clicking start from scratch, then clicking launch workflow. You'd want to create a particular trigger. So whether a tag was added, whether it was moved to a particular pipeline stage, anything along those lines, you can set that up to where it would send out that voicemail. And then what you'll do is you'll just click the little plus or the where it says add your first action and then select voicemail. Once you've selected
Okay.
voicemail, you simply need to click and upload the file that you want to send out. So it's not going to be for a one-off situation. This is going to be, you have a particular campaign with a voicemail that, hey, thank you so much for reaching out to me on Facebook regarding homes for sale in the Orlando area. I'm more than happy to assist you in finding your dream home. I'm going to be giving you a call back and also be sending you some text messages, some emails with some additional educational information so that you can be loaded up with everything you need to know. Please feel free to give me a call back at your number or simply text me back here. Thanks. Have a good day. Boom. Then you've got your voicemail, your slide dials ready. You add it to your campaign and it will send those campaigns or those voicemails out on a timed basis when that lead comes in. So I'd send a voicemail out within 2 minutes of the lead hitting the database, because more than likely we aren't going to be able to make the call within that time. Most agents are on the run. Then I would have text, emails follow up with that and put that lead into an auto dialer so that you can then leave a voicemail down the road. I hope that answers it.
Well, I think if I had something generic, like what Kelly said, a situation where a Fsbo listed or vice versa, I could have a follow-up. Hey, I sent you a letter. Anyway, I got it. I can I can work with that. Thank you.
I like it.
And looks like Lisa had to jump off as well.
Oh, bummer.
Okay.
We didn't get to answer a question.
Well, oh, and I guess I can, yeah, never mind. We don't need to. Thank you everybody for joining us. We are going to kick it off here and Brian and I will get to work and finish knocking out the rest of these updates for you guys.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. We look forward to
Talk
seeing
soon
you
on Thursday.
I will
Thank
see
you.
anybody that wants to join for support tomorrow at
Tomorrow, 10 a.m.
10 a.m. PST.
I'll be at my Fsbo, sorry.